Why do we live in this world? Listen to this one, you might just be enlightened. Dear beloved listeners of InnerLight, at some point in our lives, most of us have asked ourselves this one profound question. Why are we alive? Why do we live in this world? Some people might say it's for money, fame, or success. Others might believe it's for power, luxury, beautiful house, and expensive car. But is that really the reason? Truth is, life isn't about chasing after those things. Life is like an endless river flowing through time, a journey where we experience every emotion, every moment, love and hate, joy and sorrow, sweetness and bitterness, birth and death. It's not about what we gain, it's about what we feel, what we live through. It's a process, an experience. We don't live for anything except truly live. To live deeply, fully, to live a life that means something. So that one day, when old age gently knocks on the door, when we take our last breath, we can look back and say, with a peaceful heart, I've lived and I have no regrets. There's a powerful novel called To Live, a novel written by Chinese novelist Yue Hui in 1993. It shook readers to the core, not because of its drama, but because of its truth. One reader summed it up in a single unforgettable sentence. This is a book that doesn't need a bookmark. Once you start, you can't stop. You read it on in one go. And suddenly, a whole life unfolds before your eyes. Raw, intense, real. So why do we live? Maybe, just maybe, we live simply for the sake of living. Because life in all its ups and downs is worth it. In today's video, let's take a journey with InnerLight as we dive into a story of a man named Fu Kui. Through his life, we'll seek to answer a timeless question. Why are we here? What do we truly live for? Back in the day, Shou Fu Kui literally means wealth and nobility. With such a name, Fu Kui lived like there's no tomorrow. Reckless, lavish, intemperate spending without having to care about anything at all. Born with a silver spoon in his mouth, everything about his life screamed privilege. His ancestors were powerful landowners, famous across the region. His father was a well-to-do landowner, and his mother came from an aristocratic family, raised in elegance and honor. Their estate stretched over hundreds of fertile acres, so much wealth, it was said you could hear coins clinking just by walking across their lands. Raised in luxury, surrounded by opulence, Fu Kui knew nothing about struggle or hardship. From a young age, his wild, stubborn nature showed. He went to a prestigious private school, but books mean nothing to him. His teacher could only shake his head and sigh. You can't carve anything useful out of a rotten wood. When school was out, he didn't walk home. He rode on the backs of his family servants, pretending there were war horses, yelling like a war, charging into battle, racing through the ground like a gust of wind. Later, he grew up as a young man. Not only did his wild nature remain unchecked, it got worse. He picked up every bad habit you can think of: womanizing, gambling, drinking, and smoking. He married a patient, kind-hearted woman and has 2 children. However, his family didn't mean anything to him as he traveled through life. He even went so far to ride on the back of a courtesan straight into his father-in-law's house, tipping his head with a smug, arrogant grin. Gambling became his obsession. He burned through money like it was trash. Even when his wealth was almost gone, he couldn't stop. At that time, to Fu Kui, life meant one thing: pleasure. Money and luxury were his ticket to a never-ending ride of indulgence. That to him was the only meaning of existence. But life always has its own way of teaching us. A man named Longer had set a trap, a clever, calculated scheme at a rich gambling table, and just like that, Fuguei lost all his family's property. Everything, every last coin. The fortune built by generations before him went up in smoke. His servants scattered. His estates vanished. His father died of heartbreak after signing over the family house to Longer. His mother, crushed by grief, fell ill. One by one, the illusions faded. The mansion he once built now stood in ruins. The crowns that once flocked to his lavish party, gone. In that wreckage, only 2 people remained by his side: his wife, his innocent young daughter, Feng Cha, and their unborn son. And in that rock-bottom moment, something finally shifted inside of him. Fuguei woke up. He realized he wanted to start over. He wanted a new life. It turned out life had nothing to do with wealth, fame, or status. And then came the rocky, uncertain middle years, drifting through poverty and hardship. Fuguei finally managed to break free from his gambling addiction. He rented a few acres of dry, barren land and started a new chapter. Quiet, simple, filled with early mornings and hard work. Strangely enough, poverty brought him the change that wealth never could. But peace never seems to last long. One day, while traveling to town to get medicine for his aging, ailing mother, something happened. In a dazed, barely understanding what's going on, he was seized by the nationalist soldiers, forced into the army, shoved into the artillery unit. But really, he was just another body, another shield in the line of fire. His unit was soon surrounded waves of enemy forces closing in from all directions. Right before his eyes, he watched his comrades fall, hundreds, then thousands. Just yesterday they were laughing, talking, and full of life. Now they were nothing more than cold, lifeless body scattered across the battlefield. And yet, Fuguei felt nothing. Not because he was numb to death, but because the hunger clawing at his stomach was even more unbearable than the fear of dying. He wanted to leave. Every single one of his brothers in arms wanted to leave. When you're pushed to the edge, when you've lost almost everything, the will to survive burns with a force you can't even describe. Even through all the chaos, what kept him going was one thought. Somewhere far away, in that quiet village he once called home, his mother still waited for him. His gentle wife and his children, they were still out there, hoping, praying he would return. But the nationalist reinforcements never came. Instead, it was the Liberation Army that arrived unexpectedly, bringing with them something simple, yet life-saving: warm, fragrant steamed buns. And those soft, humble buns filled the emptiness in Fugui's stomach after days of starvation. When Fuguei held in his hand the little money given by the Liberation Army to help him find his way back home, he thought he would be returning to the life he once knew. But everything had changed. His mother had passed away. His beloved daughter, Feng Sha, due to a week-long fever, became mute and partially deaf. And Longer, who once destroyed his entire life, who had driven him into ruin, had already been executed for his crimes. The enemy of the past was gone, but strangely, instead of pain, what Fuguei felt most was relief. His heart, after everything, felt lighter. And just like that, he realized something powerful. It's time to let go of the past. The life that matters is one that starts now. In the end, living is not really about your parents, your enemies. or even the past you came from. It's about how you choose to live right here, right now. And then came the long, hard years of old age. One by one, his loved one passed away, and the weight of grief kept piling up. There's an old saying, those who survive great suffering will be rewarded with great blessings. But for Fu Gui, that promise never came true. If anything, the pain he endured only grew deeper and crueler. First, his devoted wife fell ill with a rare disease that left her completely paralyzed. Suddenly, the burden of the entire household rested on his aging shoulders, and all the silent support of their mute daughter. Then came the tragedy that shattered him. His only son, who happened to share a rare blood type with the wife of a high-ranking district chief, was drained of his blood by the hospital doctors, all to save someone powerful. He died unjustly, without warning, a life stolen. Not long after, his mute daughter, Fengsha, finally found happiness. She got married, became pregnant, and for a brief moment, it seemed like life was offering a bit of peace. But that joy was short-lived. Fengsha died from excessive blood loss after childbirth. The blow was too much for Fu Gui's wife. After years of self-sacrifice and quiet endurance, her heart finally gave in. With a silent farewell, she followed her daughter to the other side. Tragedy after tragedy kept crashing down on Fu Gui's fragile old body, like giant boulders stacking one on top of another, slowly crushing him under their weight. But it wasn't always like this. There was a time when hope still flickered. He would never forget the day his daughter, Fengsha, told him she was pregnant. The three of them, himself, his wife, and their daughter, sat together at the edge of the clay bed, feeling a quiet warmth in the room. Fengsha laughed and cried all at once, her voice trembling as she said, "I never imagined it could happen. You and Mom always worried what would happen to me if you both gone. But now I have a husband, and now I'm having a baby. You both can finally rest easy. If something ever happens to me, at least someone will be there to take care of everything, even my burial." In that moment, Fu Gui let himself imagine the future, a new chapter, babies' laughter, a warm home filled with love, the family gathering around their first grandchild. He let himself hope again, but fate had another plans. Their baby had just taken its first breath. Both his daughter and his wife left this world, one after another. 2 lives lost in exchange of a newborn baby. Was it worth it? That question pierced his heart over and over again. Now, only 3 souls remain in the world he once knew. One lonely, broken old man, a quiet and kind son-in-law, and a crying newborn. But it seems like fate still wasn't ready to let go, almost as if it wanted to push him to the edge, mocking him one last time. When his grandson Bun just turned 4 years old, tragedy struck again. His son-in-law, while working on the construction site, was crushed instantly when 2 massive concrete slabs collapsed on him. And just like that, it was a sense of complete loneliness in old age. No more laughter echoing from the bedside. No one is tending the fire in the kitchen, making warm meals. No more sweating it out at the job site, earning just enough to buy a few pounds of rice. Yet, he kept going on. Even though my wife is gone, even though both my son and daughter have passed, even though my son-in-law is no longer in the world, I still have to live on, because I still have my grandson. In the end, maybe life isn't really about love or children, or even about future. Sometimes life is simply about living. Alone in the world, life clings to suffering like shadows to dusk, full of pain, full of sorrow. There was once an old man named Fu Gui. His name means wealth and nobility, but life didn't honor that name. His only family member left in this world was his little grandson, ironically named Bun, born with hardship. Life gave this child none of a comfort or promise that his grandfather's named Carrie. Bun came to this world already marked by loss. His mother died young, his father vanished, and so the boy and his grandfather were each other's entire world. Fu Kui poured every ounce of love, every last drop of strength into raising this child. Though they lived in crushing poverty, often when on days of starvation, he still tried to give his grandson the smallest joys, a bowl of hot noodles from the street stall, just once, so the boy would know how it tastes. He sold wilted vegetables from his dusty garden in the market, earning barely enough to buy a few candies, just to see his son smile. But poverty, like a shadow, followed them everywhere. An old man and a young boy. How much work could they do? How much money could they really earn? Most days, there was nothing to eat. Their fancy meals were often nothing more than a handful of boiled beans. One day, Bun fell ill, worried sick. Fu Kui cooked him a whole pot of beans. He wanted the boy to regain his strength, but the beans were hard and difficult to digest. The boy, weak and hungry, ate too much. His small body couldn't handle it, and he passed away from overeating. Old age brings enough suffering, but now Fu Kui had to bear the agony of losing the last family member he had. Now, he truly stood alone in this vast, indifferent world. No wealth, no status, no family, no friends, stripped bare by fate, a single, solitary soul drifting through life. So what's the point of keeping on living? But no, Fu Kui chose to keep going. He quietly told himself in a strangely calm voice, "Me. There were times I wanted to fall apart, sure. But then there were moments of peace, moments where my heart felt incredibly still and quiet. Those people, my family, they were all mine. And one day, when I finally stretch my legs and take my last breath, I won't have to worry about anyone anymore." It's been said that the only way to truly erase pain is to endure a pain even deeper. And that was exactly the life of Fu Kui. His dreams crumbled slowly, piece by piece. The people he loved most kept living, one after another. Yet, somehow, he stood strong. People still saw him every day, leading his slow, aging buffalo into the fields, and sometimes quietly humming a sad old tune into the wind, lost in the vast silence of the earth and sky. In the end, living no longer even seemed to be about life itself. It was just about surviving quietly, steadily, like wild grass by the roadside, resilient, unnoticed, still alive. This life is like a roadside inn in the middle of a stormy journey. And we're just travelers, passing through for a short while. The Buddha once said, "Life is suffering." And ancient teachings tell us, heaven and earth have no compassion. They treat all beings like straw dogs, offered and discarded. So what is this world really? What kind of place have we been born into? We've struggled and fought so hard just to live, just to survive. And yet, why does this world keep pushing us away, betraying us over and over again? To live is not only a life story of a single person. Look at Fu Kui. Look at all the countless people like him living out there in this world. They might be battling through miserable, harsh lives. They might be raising one heartbreak or hardship after another. They might have lost everyone they ever loved, but still, they are here, still standing strong day after day, fighting to keep going. They don't wish for much. They don't have the strength to fight back against such cruel fate. Because sometimes just existing, that alone is all the strength they can. No need for endless why questions that only tear us apart from the inside. Sometimes living is just about being alive. Like Yu Hua once wrote, we come into this world because we have no choice. And when we leave, it's because we have no choice either. We don't get to pick where to start and how it ends. But once we're here, once we're truly living, why not give it everything we've got and live a life fully worth living? Some words of wisdom have been shared for young people to keep their spirits up that I've compiled and would like to reshare them with you today if fate bring us together here. First, live realistically. Don't act on whims or get lost in lofty, unrealistic dreams. Don't trap yourself in an ivory tower, pondering distant, illusory matters. Take, for example, the urgent concern of a student about to graduate is finding a job, learning to stand on their own feet, mastering essential skills, and truly understanding their field. That's the solid foundation, the core principle. It requires genuine effort, steady persistence, and unwavering determination. Second, cultivate self-discipline. A child who doesn't get the candy they want will throw a tantrum. But what about you? Do you fall into misery and despair just because love doesn't come your way? How's that really different? Where's the greatness in growing up if you can't control your own emotions? Try being strict with your own behavior, as you are quick to judge others. You might find your relationships, even your love life, improving far beyond what you experience now. 3. For those carrying feelings of insecurity and low self-worth, learn to be a little braver. As I mentioned before, every person is born equal. Don't let others' looks or judgments weigh you down. No matter who they are, good or bad, never let anyone hurt or diminish your own spirit. No matter how much you want to do well, putting too much pressure on yourself is never the answer. It won't solve your problems. Stay calm, steady, and take one step at a time in the right order. You can move slowly, but never, ever give up on yourself. Fourth, laziness and procrastination might come naturally and out of your habit. But they're definitely not good habits to keep. If you want to change your habits, there's no shortcut. Start by taking action, even if it's the smallest step. Fifth, never back down the moment you face a challenge. Always remember, no matter how tough something seems, if you decide to push through, it can become manageable. This doesn't just apply to big, life-changing goals. More importantly, it gives you the strength to overcome the obstacles right in front of you and keep moving forward on the path you've chosen. You realize that reality isn't always exactly as others describe it. Just like the river isn't as shallow as the old buffalo claims, nor as deep as the little squirrel says in the fable. You have to experience for yourself. Sixth, never ask others what happiness means. Your joys and pains, only you truly understand them. Happiness is a deeply personal experience. Seventh, start by focusing on doing the concrete tasks like right in front of you. Don't fall into traps of thinking that just having big ideas or deep thoughts can solve everything. It's great to understand many truths and principles, but human energy is limited. Real change comes from taking action. Sometimes knowing that certain things don't need to be overanalyzed is a kind of wisdom. Eighth, learn to appreciate containment and find joy in what you have. You and I, we're just ordinary people in this vast world. There will definitely be many moments when things don't go the way we hope. People often say, out of 10 parts of life, 8 or 9 don't go as planned. So learn to regularly focus on the 1 or 2 good parts that remain. Face challenges with calm and acceptance. Keep striving for what you desire, but at the same time, cherish and nurture what you already have right now. To all who are destined to hear this, I sincerely thank you for listening and walking this reflective journey with me. Please remember, now that you are here, alive in this world, you live well. Live a life of gratitude and joy. I hope you share your thoughts and feelings after hearing these reflections. Together, let's keep spreading positive energy and deep insights about life far and wide. Thank you for subscribing to our channel and joining our membership program. It means the world for us to be able to connect with you. Your encouragement and support inspire us every day. Once again, I wish you and your loved ones happiness, success, and peace always. With all my heart, bye for now, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next videos.